Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another The Boys video. So in this one, I wanted to review or I guess break down episodes 1 to 3. I figured I would combine all of them together because they released all 3 episodes today, and also because House of the Dragon is premiering this Sunday, so I have to sort of review all these shows right now, and yeah, just timing wise it makes sense. I also will be doing my Q&A video, so that'll be out later on today. It's going to be a Walking Dead Q&A video, so yeah, stay tuned for that. This video will contain spoilers for the episodes, I hope you guys are all aware of that. The first 3 episodes, honestly, really great episodes and really did set the tone. Where episode 3 ends off, and we'll eventually get there, but man, this is going to be such a fun show to watch for the summer. The Boys, House of the Dragon Season 2. This is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my The Boys content. I'll be breaking down every single episode. I'm going to be doing videos actually breaking down a lot of what happened at the end of episode 3 and also get into some episode 4 predictions and just sort of do some videos on The Boys in general. So yeah, a lot to talk about here. But episode 1, it does actually begin with the Boys trying to kill Newman, but they can't, you know, they're trying here and there, and I guess they had the whole acid thing that Hughie threw in her face, but yeah, it turned into a whole like humorous moment because it did nothing, and she was just like, you ruined my outfit, like, but it's perfect setup though. It's perfect setup for the season because this season is about, I guess in a sense, the trial of Homelander, but I mean the trial kind of ends in the first episode, but the meaning of the trial and Homelander's story is such a big part to the season, and yes, you could argue it's a big part to every single season, but for season 4 specifically, because of what Homelander is going through, I mean, they kind of talk about it here. He's going through like a midlife crisis. He's starting to get like white hair and all that. So, you know, he's starting to feel like, you know, he wants some more meaning in his life. And the whole election here, you know, it's perfectly timed because of the whole like US election and whatnot. But Homelander wants to play both sides, and a new character named Sage, which we'll talk about in a second. I mean, I think out of all the characters in this show, Homelander is always like my favorite, but right now I have to say Sage is up there because the character is so interesting. She's the most intelligent person in the entire world, and so that right there, it just, you know, the amount of intrigue I have in terms of, you know, when she's in a scene, when she's reading people, it's like she's going to understand what's happening with every single person. You know, there's the whole thing with A-Train right now, which we'll talk about, but I feel like she already knows that it's him, but she's like planning on when to bring it up. Like, she's just that smart. Jeffrey Dean Morgan also is in this show here. He's playing Kessler, which I feel like with what they gave us in these first 3 episodes here with the character, you know, I do like his character, and his character, it feels a lot like, I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's just amazing in every role that he's in. There's just something about how he plays certain characters that it just makes it really entertaining, and based off of his comic backstory, I just think that, you know, where we're going with this character, it's going to be really interesting. I feel like he's a one-season character, but we'll have to wait and see where this is going. And he is also practicing, you know, how to fly, or at least going like you know, higher distances and whatnot, so that was kind of cool because we never really see, you know, the characters practicing, you know, their powers and trying to get better and better and whatnot. The Boys in general, I will say, like, just with all the characters, Hughie, MM, and like just everyone, like, they're all trying to, you know, I feel like confront their pasts quite a bit, you know, especially Frenchie, Kumiko, and everyone, like, they're all trying to confront what was happening. I mean, even Homelander, you can argue as well. Like, that was kind of the theme of these 3 episodes, and I feel like it's really going to continue into, you know, the rest of the season here. I mean, you could even argue like with the Deep as well. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it's literally the theme of the season. Like, every single character is dealing with their past, and a lot of that is playing into the story right now. So in episode 1, where things really, well, at least I thought it was going in that direction, we do see Butcher and Newman. They're making a deal. You know, he needs Ryan. Like, that's basically the first 3 episodes. He's trying to get to Ryan because, you know, he's gonna die. Like, he doesn't have a lot of time left, and he wants to, you know, have something in his life go right. And so he wants to try and convince Ryan to, I guess, not end up like Homelander and all of that. And so, you know, at first he's trying, you know, to make a deal with Newman here, which definitely would mess with a lot of, you know, the Boys' plans, but obviously, like, that's what he cares about the most here, right? Like, he'll help her be vice president and whatever, like, he's gonna get the CIA and everyone off of her, but you just have to help me with Ryan. And that didn't end up being the case in the end because, I mean, yeah, I can't really show that scene in here, but he decides, no, I'm not gonna go that way. And one of the first scenes that we see with Sage, Homelander actually goes to her place, and first of all, he's not wearing the suit, which I don't remember every single scene from the last 3 seasons, but I I feel like that was the first time we ever seen Homelander without a suit. Like, he was just wearing like literally normal clothes. It was still the same colors as his suit, you know, like the blue and red, but it was just kind of hilarious. But yeah, Sage, you know, she recognizes it immediately. She's just like, yeah, you're having a midlife crisis basically, and everything is meaningless. And that's what I mean about her character. She's such, I mean, obviously it's literally her character. She's a very intelligent character, but it's just that whenever she's in a room, it's like you kind of feel like she knows more than you do, or she's about to point something out that the other characters don't know, right? Like, that's a part of storytelling in general, is that certain characters might have, you know, information that another character doesn't, and it kind of makes the scene very interesting. And so there's a lot of characters in this show that have a lot of information that other characters don't know about. There's all of this conflict, there's all of, you know, what's happening, and you have her in a scene where she's easily able to find something like that out. And so that's what makes her character very interesting and very fascinating in literally every scene that she's in. This scene right here kind of reminded me of The Walking Dead, or at least with Negan and Lucille, because we have the bats. And I really felt like that was kind of a Negan / Lucille reference, because it's, I mean, they're very similar bats. And yeah, Homelander orders the Seven, or I guess it's not the Seven, but Black Noir, the Deep, and A-Train to kill those three guys. And yeah, the scene was insane, but it makes sense for the story, and I'm glad that that scene actually made a lot of sense. And again, that was something that, you know, Sage's brilliance of just the situation, she knew what to do in that situation, right? And that was to put the bodies out there to make Starlight look really, really bad. And also just the personal stuff that all of them are going through now, right? Like A-Train and the Deep, well, actually Black Noir was just like, I don't understand, like, who is he supposed to be? Because obviously he's not the original, right? So he's just like, well, how am I supposed to play this character? I feel like I need more information. And the Deep is also going through a lot, right? A-Train as well. Like, this stuff is just very messed up, and it's kind of hilarious because the characters, they don't stand up to Homelander. And I love how all of their personal struggles that they're going through, it all, like, you know, to Homelander, it's all contributing to that main storyline of he finds everything so meaningless. And that's the reason he wants this relationship with Ryan. Like, that's, you know, he's trying to find meaning in everything right now. And so, yeah, really well crafted story in my opinion. It is announced at the end of episode 1, though, that Homelander was found not guilty, which obviously wasn't really that much of a surprise. And yeah, the bodies out there are proof to everybody that Starlighters, I guess is what they're calling them, are they're crazy and this and that. And so everyone's freaking out about that. And obviously that's kind of where that ends. Well, actually, Hughie's mom shows up, which was very, very surprising. Will Ferrell was also in this, which I was kind of surprised by. It was just a literally random scene that didn't really mean much. I was trying to like understand, are we going to see anything from him that just kind of feels like Will Ferrell? And honestly, the scene didn't really feel like him at all. It was just kind of, I mean, obviously the scene was very serious, but you did get that Will Ferrell comedy in there, but it just didn't really feel like that hilarious. Yeah, it was very, very random. But Hughie's mom, though, she does show up, and obviously this causes a lot of conflict with Hughie because his mom left when he was just a little kid, and it was something that he obviously struggled with his entire life, and he tried to understand why. By the end of episode 3, we understood entirely why. And you know, when it comes to stuff like that, it is one of those things where it's just, I mean, for her personally, it's unfortunate. I mean, for all of them, it's unfortunate. She was struggling a lot. And when you deal with things like that, it is very hard. And what she did was bad. It was, you know, obviously for Hughie, but for herself, you know, it was something she needed to do. I don't know where this is going to go next, but I really like that they are connecting back to this, because obviously we got word that season 5 is going to be the last season. And I will say season 4 does really feel like we're building up to something really bad. Like, the finale is going to end on this really crazy cliffhanger that sets up the very last and like final season, right? So I feel like we're going to see Homelander take over, and we'll see where season 5 goes. But we've been focusing a lot on all of that. And for the last couple of seasons, or at least season 3, and I think season 2, I don't really remember season 2 too much, but it really has felt like a lot of the human story here has kind of went away, or at least Hughie's story, right? Which is where we kind of started with all of this here. And so going back to this here, I think is the smart thing to do. It feels nice. We do see Ryan, he's being trained to, you know, make his like first save and all of that. And that was like something that was brought up a lot in these 3 episodes here, is like, you know, the first save you do where it makes you look like this like big superhero, right? And so for Ryan, it was something that he was kind of confused with. And I feel like for that character too, he's having a hard time. I mean, like, obviously at that age too, you're trying to, have your own identity and you're trying to figure things out for yourself. And all these people are telling him to do this and that. And he doesn't really want to do that, right? Or he's questioning things. And, he accidentally kills his friend Coy, right? And that just sets him off on this whole other thing. And Homelander in all of this is trying to understand, like, why aren't you happy with all of this? And so this brings us to the whole, I feel like the biggest moment here of all 3 episodes, which is Homelander kind of said it in that one line where he was like, I gave you everything I've always wanted, right? And so it's not what Ryan wants, right? It's what Homelander always wanted. And I feel like that is something that, I mean, first of all, that's literally what I said before, like, that's the whole theme of this season so far, is dealing with your past and whatnot. And Homelander is doing that in the sense that, he has all of these fears of things that he's dealt with. He wants to give his son all of that, and he wants that love from his son. And so he's technically not the best parent because it's all about himself, right? And in that moment, it literally revealed all of that there. And especially kind of coming from, that scene with Ryan and Butcher beforehand where they're playing foosball and, they had that emotional moment there. Going to a scene like this, it was just like, okay, Homelander's starting to break here a little bit. I think he's starting to see how all this is playing out. And I think he's starting to realize I don't really care about any of this. I have a few notes here that I'll go through because this video is getting pretty long, but the Deep is starting to get more confident, which I kind of found hilarious. That scene in the elevator where, Sage afterwards was like, you don't have to let her talk to you like that. Like, you're way more superior than her, kind of thing, right? And then he just started to get like, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. And just, the state of Vought in general right now, I feel like, I mean, they brought in Firecracker, right? Sage, like, they're the new members of the Seven. And it feels like, at least in the last couple of seasons, things were, very just chaotic. And yes, you could argue things are like that now, but it feels like it's way more organized and they're way more of what they want to be right now. And I think it's because Sage is giving Homelander a lot of clarity and she's challenging him on a lot of these things here. There's some suspicions right now of who cleared those men, obviously, of the deaths that, happened apparently outside the courthouse, but obviously we know who actually did kill them. And I think they are going to eventually find out, right? But that's where A-Train is, in terms of the story here. I mean, we've seen this in the past where it seemed like, there was more good to him than a lot of the other members of the Seven. But, the boys decide, like, we're going to try and turn A-Train, right? Like, I think he's almost there. We can definitely do this. And it looks like they're actually doing that. Like, A-Train seems to actually be in a place where he is good now, right? And I don't know if that's where they're going to be going, but it kind of seems like as of right now that is where they're actually going to be going here. But the whole ending scene of episode 3 with Vought on ice, which, first of all, the woman singing in that song, was that Idina Menzel? Because it really sounded like her voice. And I know because I have kids and they watch Frozen, so I'm always hearing the songs, but it really sounded like her. I could be wrong, but it really did sound like her. But this whole scene right here, to have Hughie go into the vents and obviously plant a bug to try to hear, the conversation that they were having there, it was honestly just hearing that plan. It was like, I mean, first of all, it's insane, but it makes so much sense. Like, obviously that they want Soups to rule the world, but they want to get her, in the office, and then she'll eventually be the real president, and they want her to reveal, or I guess, just who she is. The fact that she is a Soup to the entire world, have a Soup basically in every city and like running everything. And Newman does feel very conflicted about all of this here, but Homelander is just like, no, this is what we need to do here. Hughie is overhearing all of this, but then, because of the stress of the situation, is sweating, and I'm sure it's really hot in those vents as well. Sweat actually drops on Homelander, and Homelander, that was the one thing we learned in this here, is that he can just kind of smell people's scents. I mean, maybe that was shown before, but I just don't really remember. And so we get this really amazing scene where he just like lasers the vents, jumps into the vents. I thought that was so cool. And then after this here, I will say it felt really unrealistic, because for Homelander, he can just fly around and destroy this whole place and find Hughie, right? I do like the fact that A-Train does save him, because at some point I was like, hey, like, if we're expected to believe that Homelander is like all powerful, like, he does need to find Hughie, right? So A-Train saving him, like, that makes sense because that would have happened so fast. But there's still a part to it that is kind of unbelievable, because Homelander, it feels like he's being so restricted restricted. Like, he can actually, if he wanted to, go fly out there and destroy everything and find him. But he's just sort of looking around there, like, I can't see him, like, where is he kind of thing. And I don't know if it's because it's more of a, you know, I don't want to make a big deal here and have everyone notice that I'm trying to find, you know, this person here. And so he's trying to be more, you know, calm for the situation, though he is literally like lasering everything around. So I don't know, it felt a little unbelievable at first, but then when A-Train saved him, I was like, okay, I can believe that. Like, I'll just sort of, I'll let this one go kind of thing. But yeah, really cool scene in general, just everything that happened on the ice afterwards, like, oh man. But then we get Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who obviously was really upset that Butcher's plan didn't work out, or I guess their plan in general did not work out. And yeah, their plan was to take Ryan at that point there. And so yeah, we got some interesting conflict there between those two characters, and I'm interested in seeing where that goes next, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I know, is going to have a bigger role in this season here. You can kind of see where this is going. Like, I'm expecting him to die at some point here, but he really wants Ryan. He really, like, he does not care that Butcher has this, like, personal connection. Like, he just wants Ryan to be on their side. He doesn't want him to be literally Homelander, because Homelander's already bad enough. But if you have someone that's like Homelander, and maybe he's worse, or like who knows, if both of them are together, like, who knows how bad this can actually get, right? And so we saw that at the very end. Homelander goes absolutely insane. The mirror smash there, or at least he breaks the mirror, and you see all of his personalities coming out, and you know, he's listening to all of them talk to him, and he's just like trying to figure out what he's supposed to do or what he's supposed to think. Like, he's having like a mental breakdown right now. And then all of them say, you need to, like, basically go confront your past. And again, that's kind of the theme of these first 3 episodes. I feel like it's going to be the theme of the season, which story wise, I'm actually so happy that they're doing that right now, as opposed to doing that in but in season 5, because it's very common, I feel like, in a lot of just stories in general, when you get close to the end of the story anyways, to sort of wrap it up full circle. You know, a lot of people like to do the whole full circle thing, and I'm a fan of it sometimes, because sometimes it does work and it makes sense for certain characters, but sometimes it also is like, well, you want to see something different. You do want to get there because it can, you know, it creates a lot of character development and all of that, but sometimes I feel like doing that beforehand and then having another ending, you know, just having something different, like, just attached onto it where you can see the characters in different places, it also adds a lot more depth as well. And so I'm excited that they're doing that right now, because we're seeing the characters confront a lot of things, and I feel like it's going to lead to certain characters' deaths or certain characters coming out on the other side of all of this, right? And so that's going to be exciting, because it's going to obviously build up to a really exciting finale, I feel like. And then we'll see where season 5 goes, right? It's the final season. It's going to be the ending. So I kind of like what they're doing here with all the characters. And so we'll see what this means for Homelander in episode 4 in terms of going home and all of that. But yeah, I thought these first 3 episodes here were really great. I apologize if the review was kind of everywhere. I tried my best to sort of like recap everything and break down every scene. Yeah, they were kind of everywhere. So I did my best. I didn't really want to like review everything from beginning to end. But obviously for episodes 4 and 5, like they'll be out, you know, in separate weeks and all that, all the way up to episode 8. I believe there's 8 episodes. So way more in-depth breakdowns and all that for those episodes, obviously. But yeah, definitely post your thoughts down below on episodes 1 to 3 of season 4 of The Boys. And yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.